Family and friends of 32-year-old Rose Berlin Rose Philippe packed the courtroom. Bartley appeared before County Court Judge Maurice Williams. Bartley is accused of murdering Philippe, his ex-girlfriend, in the presence of their 2-year-old son at the Elmsford Days Inn. He was indicted on second-degree murder and endangering the welfare of a child. During a brief court appearance, the attorney for 32-year-old Bartley pled not guilty on his behalf.
On October 28, 2022, Shankella Robinson boarded a plane to Cabo San Lucas with 6 friends for what should have been a weekend getaway. 24 hours later, the 25-year-old businesswoman from Charlotte, North Carolina, was dead. The friends called her mother with a story: alcohol poisoning. They said Shankella had gotten sick after drinking, that it happened quickly, that there was nothing anyone could do. The body would be returned home within days. But then a video surfaced. The footage showed Shankella in a bedroom at the luxury villa, naked and unable to defend herself as someone struck her repeatedly. Voices could be heard in the background. No one intervened.
Okay. Quilla, can you at least fight back?
No. What's your
At least something. At least fight back, something.
Get up, bro. Get up.
Yeah.
When Robinson's body arrived in Charlotte, her family received a Mexican death certificate. The cause of death was not alcohol poisoning. It listed severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, a broken neck. The manner of death, violent. The family ordered a second autopsy in North Carolina. This one found Robinson's spine intact, no skull fractures. Cause of death, undetermined. 2 autopsies, 2 different conclusions. Mexican authorities issued an arrest warrant for one unnamed suspect in November 2022. The FBI opened an investigation. The State Department got involved. Yet more than 2 years later, no one has been arrested in either country. No criminal charges have been filed in the United States or Mexico. The 6 friends who traveled with Robinson that weekend have remained largely silent. Welcome to Deadly Crime Unmasked. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a case. Shankella Robinson was born on January 9th, 1997, in Charlotte, North Carolina. She was raised in a close-knit African-American family with strong ties to their local community. Her parents, Salamandra Robinson and Bernard Robinson, emphasized faith, structure, and family unity throughout her upbringing. Shankella grew up alongside her sister, Quilla Long, who later became one of the most visible voices advocating for answers after Shankella's death. Family members described the household as stable and supportive, with an emphasis on togetherness and accountability. Shankella attended West Charlotte High School, where she completed her education and graduated in 2015. During her school years, she maintained steady friendships and was known for being socially active. After high school, she enrolled at Winston-Salem State University, a historically black university in North Carolina. She graduated in 2019 with a bachelor's degree. Former classmates described her as focused and driven, maintaining relationships from both her high school and college years. Her time at the university played a significant role in shaping her professional ambitions and social network. Following graduation, Shankella pursued entrepreneurship. She founded and operated the Exquisite Boutique, a women's fashion clothing brand focused on contemporary styles. She later expanded her business interests by launching Exquisite Babies, a children's clothing line designed for ages 1 through 12. Alongside her fashion ventures, she was a licensed hairstylist and professional braider, actively working in the beauty industry. These combined efforts allowed her to build multiple income streams and a recognizable personal brand. Shankella also maintained an active presence on social media, operating under the handle @Quella_. At the time of her death, she had approximately 46.5 thousand followers on Instagram. Her online content primarily showcased her business projects, modeling work, travel experiences, and lifestyle. She worked as a model and frequently traveled for photo shoots, including trips to Miami, Las Vegas, and Jamaica. Based on her businesses, modeling work, and online presence, her estimated net worth at the time of her death was reported to be approximately $550,000. In late October 2022, a group of 7 people from North Carolina planned a vacation trip to Cabo San Lucas, located in Baja California Sur, Mexico. The trip was scheduled as a short getaway, with accommodations booked at Villa Linda 32, a luxury rental property within the Puerto Los Cabos resort area. The group initially consisted of fewer confirmed guests, but changes occurred close to departure. Shankella Robinson, a 25-year-old businesswoman from Charlotte, North Carolina, was reportedly invited at the last minute after other planned attendees canceled. Despite the short notice, she agreed to join. All members of the group were North Carolina residents. Some had long-standing relationships with Shankella, while others were more loosely connected through social or college circles. They traveled together from the United States to Mexico. The group included 6 individuals who later became publicly known as the Cabo Six. Khalil Cook, often described as Shankella's closest friend. He had previously traveled with her and had spent time with her family. Dejani Jackson, who later changed her name to Amani Green and was later identified by authorities and the public as the primary aggressor in the assault video. Malik St. Patrick Dyer. Winter Essence Donovan, the individual who contacted emergency services. Alice Michelle Hyatt. Nazir Tyree Wiggins. The group dynamic included a mix of familiarity and casual association. Some had known Shankella for years. Others had limited history with her. The group departed the United States on October 28, 2022, and arrived in Cabo San Lucas the same day. Upon arrival at Villa Linda 32, early moments appeared routine. Video footage from the first day shows Shankella walking through the villa, smiling and calling out for her friends. The group settled into the property, and nothing unusual was reported during the initial hours. According to timelines later established through investigation and medical records, the critical incident occurred during the early morning hours of October 29, 2022. Between 7 o'clock and 7:30 a.m. local time, Shankella Robinson was assaulted inside the villa. A video recording of this incident exists and would later become central to the case. During the assault, Shankella was unclothed. After the incident ended, she reportedly returned to her bedroom. No medical help was requested at that time. Approaching midday, a housekeeper entered Shankella's room and found her lying face down on the bathroom floor. She was unresponsive. By this point, no one had reportedly seen or heard from her since the early morning. Her condition appeared serious immediately upon discovery. At 2:13 p.m., Winter Donovan contacted medical services requesting assistance. The call described a situation involving excessive alcohol consumption. Around the same time, Shankella's mother, Salamandra Robinson, received a phone call from a member of the group stating that her daughter was ill and that a doctor was on the way. At 3:13 p.m., Dr. Carolina Beatriz Ornelas Gutierrez from the American Medical Center in Cabo San Lucas arrived at Villa Linda 32. Upon examination, the doctor found Shankella alive but minimally responsive. Her vital signs were initially stable, but she was severely dehydrated and unable to speak. The group told the doctor that Shankella had consumed a large amount of alcohol and required 4 fluids. Based on her condition, the doctor recommended immediate transfer to a hospital. This recommendation was declined. Members of the group insisted that Shankella be treated inside the villa rather than transported. At 4:14 p.m., the doctor again urged the group to allow hospital transfer. This request was refused for a second time. While attempting to administer 4 fluids, Shankella went into what the doctor described as convulsive crisis. Her condition rapidly deteriorated. At 4:45 p.m., when Donovan placed a call to emergency services requesting an ambulance, Shankella then entered full cardiopulmonary arrest. CPR was initiated by the doctor on site. Emergency paramedics arrived shortly after. They conducted extensive life-saving measures. 14 rounds of CPR, 5 injections of adrenaline, 6 defibrillator shocks, continuous chest compressions, and airway intervention. None of these efforts restored a heartbeat, pulse, or neurological response. At 5:25 p.m., Los Cabos municipal police officers identified as Omar and David arrived at the scene. They were informed by the doctor that the patient had allegedly consumed excessive alcohol. At 5:57 p.m., Shankella Robinson was officially pronounced dead. The video shows a naked woman, later identified by her family as Shankella Robinson, inside a bedroom at the villa. She appears disoriented and barely responsive. Another woman, identified as Dejani Jackson, repeatedly punches Shankella in the head, face, and body. The assault continues across the room. At one point, Shankella's neck is forcefully grabbed and twisted. She is thrown onto the floor with significant impact. She does not appear capable of defending herself. Multiple people were present during the assault. At least one male voice is heard saying, "Quella, can you at least fight back?" No one intervenes. The assault was recorded on a cell phone. A lawsuit later alleged that the attack was also streamed via FaceTime to Jackson's boyfriend. No evidence shows anyone attempting to stop the assault or provide help afterward. In mid-November 2022, Mexican journalists investigating a separate case were tipped off about a disturbing video circulating privately among students in North Carolina. The footage was uploaded to Twitter and rapidly spread across social media platforms. Salamandra Robinson confirmed that the woman in the video was her daughter. The video directly contradicted early claims that Shankella died from alcohol poisoning and became a key piece of evidence in public and legal scrutiny of the case. In the hours following Shankella Robinson's collapse inside the Cabo San Lucas villa, the situation shifted rapidly. Instead of remaining in Mexico to cooperate with authorities, the 6 people who had traveled with her changed their plans. The group left Mexico a day earlier than originally scheduled, returning to the United States without formally reporting any assault to Mexican law enforcement. All 6 returned to Charlotte, North Carolina. Shankella Robinson did not. Her body was left behind at a Mexican medical facility. Each person who returned carried a different version of what had occurred inside the villa during her final hours. When Robinson's family was first contacted, they were told she had become ill. During a phone call to her mother, Salamandra Robinson, amid what was described as a medical emergency, the group claimed Shankella wasn't feeling well. Shortly after, the explanation shifted. The family was told she had died from alcohol poisoning. That explanation did not remain consistent. Each of the 6 travel companions gave conflicting accounts of critical details. There was no agreement on where Shankella was found. Some claimed a maid discovered her unconscious. One said she was found on the floor. Another stated she was found in bed. A separate account told her father she had been sitting in a chair. Even basic questions about who called for medical help produced contradictory answers. Some said they called a doctor themselves. Others claimed the concierge placed the call. Some mentioned the maid was involved. No single version aligned with the others. Shortly after returning to Charlotte, Khalil Cook, described as one of Robinson's closest friends, personally visited the Robinson family home. He insisted there had been no foul play and repeated the alcohol poisoning explanation. Other members of the group echoed the same claim. However, when Salamandra Robinson later confronted Cook with the Mexican autopsy findings, his behavior reportedly changed. According to Robinson's father, Cook began sweating heavily, removed his shirt, and appeared visibly distressed. Despite this reaction, the alcohol poisoning narrative continued to be repeated publicly by members of the group. 2 others, Dejani Jackson and Khalil Cook, returned Shankella's belongings to her mother. They offered condolences while maintaining the same explanation for her death. Both would later be named as central figures in civil litigation related to the case. Days after the family was officially notified of Shankella's death, Salamandra Robinson received an anonymous phone call. The caller stated plainly that Shankella had been involved in a physical fight. The caller said they were over there fighting Shankella before abruptly ending the call. The identity of the caller was never determined. This was the first indication the family received that a physical altercation may have occurred. On November 5, 2022, the Robinson family received a notarized English translation of Shankella Robinson's Mexican death certificate. The document was dated November 4, 2022. The listed cause of death was severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation. Atlas luxation refers to a dislocation at the base of the skull, where the skull separates from the first cervical vertebra. The time of death was recorded as October 29, 2022, at 3 p.m. The document listed the manner of death as accidental or violent. There was no mention of alcohol poisoning or cardiac arrest. The autopsy was signed by Mexican forensic Dr. Rene A. Galvanaceguera, affiliated with the Secretary of Health of Baja California Sur. Upon reading the report, Salamandra Robinson stated that the conflicting stories suddenly made sense. When Robinson's mother viewed her daughter's body, she observed visible trauma. There was swelling and bruising on Shankella's face, a busted lip, a swollen eye, and knots on her head. Bruises were also visible on her arms. Later FBI documentation would indicate that the injuries were consistent with being stomped on. Shankella Robinson's body was returned to the United States on November 12, 2022. Her funeral was held on November 19, 2022, at Macedonia Baptist Church in Charlotte. Hundreds gathered along the streets and outside the church. The public turnout reflected the growing concern surrounding the circumstances of her death. The Mexican autopsy concluded that Shankella Robinson died 15 minutes after sustaining her injuries. The cause was severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation. The manner of death was classified as accidental or violent. Mexican Attorney General Daniel de la Rosa Anaya later clarified publicly that Shankella's death was not caused by alcohol intake, nor was it the result of injury sustained during a mutual fight. He stated it resulted from a direct assault that fractured her spinal cord. However, discrepancies emerged. While the death certificate indicated death occurred within 15 minutes of injury, police records showed a doctor remained with Shankella for nearly 3 hours. This raised questions about the exact timing and sequence of events. A second autopsy was conducted on November 17, 2022, by the Mecklenburg County Medical Examiner's Office under Dr. Thomas Owens. This examination occurred after Shankella's body had been embalmed. The autopsy found no spinal cord injury, no fractures of the skull or neck, no hemorrhaging in neck muscles, no rib fractures, and no vertebral fractures. Internal organs showed no signs of trauma or disease. The only notable finding was swelling of the brain. The final conclusion listed the cause of death as undetermined. The contradiction was clear. One autopsy concluded a broken neck caused death within minutes. The other found no such injury and could not determine a cause. The family and their attorneys attributed this discrepancy to delays, embalming, and evidence degradation. Local Los Cabos police initially treated the incident as alcohol intoxication. Based on information from a group and a doctor, the death was not immediately considered suspicious. All 6 companions were allowed to leave Mexico. The case later escalated to the Attorney General of Baja California Sur, who reclassified the death as femicide. On November 23, 2022, an arrest warrant was issued for an unnamed American citizen identified as a direct aggressor. Family attorneys stated Mexican authorities identified the suspect as Johnny Jackson. Mexican prosecutors completed an extradition packet, issued an Interpol red notice, and sent documentation to U.S. authorities. Officials confirmed all paperwork had been completed. The FBI confirmed opening an investigation on November 18, 2022, nearly 3 weeks after Shankella's death. Agents interviewed those present at the villa and reviewed evidence, including Shankella's phone. In April 2023, U.S. federal prosecutors announced no charges would be filed, citing insufficient evidence to prove a federal crime beyond a reasonable doubt. The family was informed during a meeting and expressed disappointment. Despite public statements suggesting closure, the FBI declined to release files, stating the case was not officially closed. The State Department acknowledged the case but declined to comment on extradition efforts. The family's attorney stated proper diplomatic protocol was not followed. In March 2023, the White House addressed the case briefly, offering condolences without announcing further action. If this story impacted you or shifted the way you see the world, please like the video and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Deadly Crime Unmasked. Our goal is not just awareness, but remembrance, giving a voice to those who were silenced. Subscribe and turn on notifications to stay with us as we continue exposing the hidden truths behind real crimes. Thank you for your time, your compassion, and your support. Stay aware, stay kind.